Everyone's laughing at Edmond's tears on Love is Blind. But as a marriage and family therapist, what I see something very different. What I see is a man showing signs of stunted emotional development. This is the kind of stunted emotional development that only comes when you have childhood trauma or instability or growing up in a place where you just don't feel safe. So today, I want to talk about what you're really seeing on the Love is Blind show and why it has triggered a bigger conversation about what is healing and what that is about in entertainment. So first of all, I want to talk about what we're actually seeing on the show. Edmond's emotional reaction mirrors a regressed childlike behavior. You've seen it multiple times so far. He cries very easily. He struggles to articulate his needs. He becomes overwhelmed very quickly. This can stem from attachment trauma, often seen in adults who experience foster care, neglect, or multiple placements early in life. Okay? And when a child doesn't develop secure attachment, their emotional regulation system gets stuck in survival mode. This is very key. Now, I don't know his whole story, so I'm only going off of what he shared on the show and the clips of information that I show. I don't know if he's going through therapy already to treat some of this. I'm only going off of what I see on the Netflix series right now. But as adults, these kids, they can look physically mature, but emotionally are underdeveloped. So when he cries, it's not that he's manipulation, it's regression. His body remembers this pain that his adult mind can't fully process just yet. Number 2, why we should have compassion instead of mockery. I've seen multiple posts and even memes come out of his few episodes that are on Love is Blind, and I just want to speak to that. Society often shames male vulnerability, especially black men. Many of our viewers may not realize what that looks like, or like what immaturity looks like. It's actually really unresolved trauma. Compassion doesn't excuse the behavior, it understands it, y'all. We can hold both truths. Edmond may not be ready for marriage, and he deserves empathy and access to healing, not public humiliation. The third thing I want to discuss is what Love is Blind and other shows like it, what they need to rethink. Really rethink. These shows are designed for entertainment. We already know that. I'm a fan of the show. I love to look at the different concepts of the show. I can't help but sometimes psychoanalyze things, but this is entertainment. It's not healing. So my concern is that they are profiting from brokenness, and this is not the only time this has happened. We have seen this across multiple shows. But the casting process often should include a psychological screening, like trauma-informed screenings, which is very different and should have helped them to decide on who should go on the show. Imagine if these shows had therapists who specialize in attachment trauma and they were actually available on the set. Not just a debrief or something about entertainment, but to protect the contestants and actually the viewers, because it can be quite triggering for even those that are watching. The audience needs to be educated as well, which is again why I'm doing this video. Emotional unhealth shouldn't be entertainment. We should not look at these things and just laugh. It actually, when I was watching it, I was breaking my heart hearing his story and then watching his reactions to Calibria, I believe her name is, when she stood her ground in certain areas. If you watch Edmond in this series and laugh, listen, this is not to make you feel bad. The show is entertaining. He does a lot of things that are funny, and I think even he knows they are funny. But maybe the next time that you watch, we can pause and ask the question, what pain might be hiding behind that reaction, particularly when he cries? See, healing is not linear, and it can sometimes be very messy. Until we build spaces, even in entertainment, for that healing, that honor it, we'll keep watching brokenness after brokenness after brokenness come across our screens in the name of ratings, in the name of profitability, and they're disguised as a love story or an experiment. So if you want to learn how childhood trauma shows up in adult relationships and what real healing actually looks like, make sure you subscribe to my channel and download my free marriage checklist at relationalityco.com. I go into the emotional focus therapy there a little bit, but I highly suggest, if you know somebody that has these reactions, for you to again know that this could be regression and childhood trauma, not an expression of an immaturity or something to laugh at. The last thing I want to mention is that while Edmond's childhood regression shows up through his crying, a lot of men and women, sometimes their emotional instability shows up as anger. Anger is society's acceptable emotion for men. So you can also see this in men that cannot control their anger. It is not that they are necessarily angry. They just have so many unprocessed emotions and unprocessed trauma, which is where I believe we are missing the gap. We are putting men in these situations when they're actually hurt, when they're actually had so much instability and trauma in their childhood that their body is remembering something, and the explosion of emotion, whether that's tears, anger, or frustration, or any other of the emotions, that shows up quite a bit. So think about that the next time that you label somebody. Think about their background, if you know it, or if not. Let's just have a little bit more compassion. That's something that we don't have a lot of right now in our culture, is compassion for each other. You never know what somebody is going through, even if they're smiling at you. You never know what the person at the grocery store that you're walking past, what they're enduring in their own life. So let's be a little bit more kind. If nothing else, let's just not post if we don't have anything good to say about it, or if we don't understand it. Let's just not post and create memes for the sake of ratings, for the sake of engagement, for the sake of laughing. It's mean. Clearly, you can clearly see Edmond has some deeper issues. He shared with us all that there are some deeper issues here, and he really does need to get some further help. So I feel like I needed to share that. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.